Hello there YouTube, Devin here again, and today I'm going to show you how to remove your Mosin nagant bolt as well as how to take it apart and clean it and everything with really no extra tools. You can do this without tools, kind of how the magic of how Russian and Soviet technology tends to work. You don't really need any special tools in order to remove or disassemble your Mosin nagant bolt. So how you remove your Mosin nagant bolt is you draw it all the way to the rear, and then you will depress the trigger, and then it should just pull right out of the gun. So now we can get the rest of the rifle out of the way here, hopefully without breaking or banging up anything. Alright, so now we have our Mosin nagant bolt here, and pretty simple to take apart actually. You really don't need to do a whole lot to this bolt to do basic maintenance on it, which is, I'll explain that as kind of we go into it about how far you really need to go. But for the most part, you don't need to go all the way unless you're replacing a part. But some of you should, check these very often. Times your Mosin bolts are going to be just fine because they're probably so packed full of oil or grease or cosmoline or something that they're not really going to rust or anything. But I like to check all of my bolts that are left in the white at least once a year and re-oil them to make sure that they are in as good of condition as I can possibly keep them in, for safety reasons, because after all, these things do tend to wear out and stuff like that. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to grab the bolt body here. Okay, so I like to have the actual bolt in between my index and middle finger there, and you want to pull back on the cocking piece and rotate it 90 degrees to the left. So now you have essentially just released all the tension on the spring, and now your bolt head can pull right off with the track. So this would be the track. This is an integral part to the Mosin, and we'll be using this part later. And this is your bolt head and extractor and stuff like that, as you can see. So that's tight enough. And now, in order to remove the firing pin, a lot of you will have had that little kind of teardrop shaped Mosin tool. The largest kind of space, like tooth cut into that, you can use. Or if you don't have one of those, you can just use the bar here, because you can fit it right around the firing pin, and then you just need to unscrew it. So now this is under tension, so when it's when you've reached the end of your travel here, so you can see how the firing pin is winding down there, when it reaches the end of travel, it's going to want to fly out of the gun. So you need to be very, very careful with that there. Don't lose it. Don't poke an eye out. Don't have it against any sheetrock or anything. So you can see it's about to go here as that kind of spacer on the firing pin sticks out past the bolt body there. And you'll see it there. It went. Bam. And then here's all your parts. You have your cocking knob, your firing pin spring, and your firing pin. Now all ready to be greased, maintained, oiled, and whatnot. And then to put it back together, there's kind of a easier way to do this. And now the easiest way to do that I found is you just get a hard but yielding surface. I have this kind of like pine wood cork covered coaster that I use basically just for on camera. But if you have a nice wood table or something, then all that you want to do is you want to push down. Okay, so if I could do this in frame here. You want to put the spring on the firing pin the bolt body, and then you just push down on it, and you just give this a few turns. Okay, and, make sure it's in its position where it's set, so that way it's in. So now the firing pin is being held by at least some of the threads of the cocking piece, and then you just do what you did, but in the opposite way. Whoop. See, that's what you want to avoid right there. So you want it to not do that. But we'll give it another go here. Come on now. So my firing pin is actually pretty tight in my bolt body because it's a finish firing pin, so it doesn't like to catch these threads very well either. So maybe I'll give it a few extra turns this time, just to be on the safe side. So now we're just gonna screw it on. Screwing it the wrong way there. And this one's kind of nice because this isn't the cocking piece that came with this rifle, but it has you might notice that there's a little line on the back of your cocking piece. See, like this one has, that lines up with the line on the firing pin. You want them to be kind of flush with each other and the lines to line up, so that way your firing pin can be at the optimal depth. So because if it fires too deep, it'll rupture the case, and if it's not deep enough, it'll light strike, and you don't want either of those things to happen. Now we're just gonna basically put it together in reverse. We're going to put the track on, and then we're going to put the bolt head on, and then so the bolt head has this little, the track has this little lug in it right here, and that little lug needs to line up with this track right here. So that's pretty easy to do, and so you just slide it on right in that track, and then you need to kind of pull it out just a little bit, not all the way off, until it fits right in there. And then this is where you could take your Mosin tool. That second and third little piece is used to check the firing pin depth. One is for if it is too short, so like the shorter one is for if it's too short. So if you ride it across there and the bolt face, it doesn't like rock back and forth if you're touching the firing pin in the deepest part of that little cutout. It should kind of rock. It shouldn't slide smoothly across the bolt face. And then the other one is used to check if your firing pin is too long, and that should slide smoothly across your bolt face with the firing pin going through that little hole in this position. For those of you who don't know how to, set your firing pin to the correct depth. And now, pull it out of that lug. You want to hold it together and just reset it just like that, and there you go. That is one completely assembled, disassembled and assembled Mosin bolt with no extra tools. So it's pretty easy to do. It can be a little bit of a finger breaker, and you can get very dirty. I'm not so bad because I've oiled that before, but it's something you definitely have to kind of keep an eye out for. You gotta maintain these pretty well, and there's potential to hurt yourself doing this, so make sure you're very careful about doing it. That spring has a lot of tension in it, but hopefully you learned how to disassemble this very easily and safely, and now if you don't know how to do this, you can do it very easily with no tools even. So thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.